So first, I'm going to stick on the negatives for a second. So I want to go back to passing. Curious if you had to compare, let's say, the group we just had to the group you had through the summer,
Like which
the
group?
the U18 group. So this would have been
Yeah,
like, you know, the
junior
guys,
guys.
right?
Junior guys.
But the step below
Yeah,
too, like the guys
yeah.
coming out of U16. Okay, so take those guys. So it wouldn't have been the 12:30. It would have been like the 11, and then some of the guys in the 12:30. If you have to compare just passing, was it different? Was it the same? Or did you see it progress over time from worse to better through the summer? Like, how
Well,
did that go?
totally from worse to better.
Yeah,
The reason it goes worse to better is because there was a focus on it.
correct. Okay, so this is my point. So my question now is, why is the passing bad? So as a general rule, because I noticed the same thing. Any group, even like with the girls group that I had with this group, I'm watching the drill. And I'm like, guys, like things you can take for granted, or that you should be able to take for granted at that level, you can't, And so my thing to them, working with them, was like, I don't know what you guys do at home, right? Like how many of you guys work on your shot? They all work on their shot. How many of you guys do like some kind of stick handling thing? They all do that. Okay, does anyone ever focus for a second on being a better passer?
Okay, but let's just go back 1 second. You said
Yeah.
I know you work on your shot. Okay, good. Okay, do you work on your shot? What part of your shot are you working on? And this is something that I would argue that a lot of people shoot a lot of pucks, but what is the intention? Like,
Okay, sorry to interrupt
okay,
you. Fair enough, but at least they're doing it, right? When it comes to passing, there's nothing. Like no, like I remember, for example, my dad actually I give him credit because he was the one that would give me. I think I was a pretty good passer actually when I played because I had that. I don't even think I earned it necessarily, but I had that little touch of finesse where I could thread a little bit. But I remember as a kid, my dad saying, "Put a piece of tape on the wall there and hit it 100 times in a row." As like a passing drill, for example, right?
sure, it's a
Something
thought.
like that.
It's a thought.
So
Sure, yeah,
I thought about it.
yeah.
I made some effort towards that specific skill. Whether it was the best or not is not my focus at the moment. It's just I did something to work on it. The shooting, same, like, because to your point exactly, it's like, how are you actually working on your shot? Different question. Like the fact that you're doing it at all is more what I mean with the passing thing. It's like I don't think anyone's even doing anything at all.
Yeah. So, okay. So I know if you sit there and say, well, if you go in your basement or you go in the garage and aim for one spot, it's helpful. It probably is helpful. But for me, it's an intention, right? You have to be aware of it. So I'm just going into my own little pea brain here, 6 inches between my ears. This is where I feel playing other sports helps you so much because we go up to Brantford. My family goes up to Brantford to see my brother. All the cousins and all that stuff. We go outside and we go play football. We always play like a whatever receiver and not a full game obviously. But do you know how pissed off I get if I don't make a good pass? If I see my brother running or my son running and he's running and he has to reach behind him or he's got to stutter step and stop, I know as an athlete that that's not very good. I'm not a football player. I'd love to be though. I'd love to be a running back. But it bothered me. So I instinctively or intrinsically or either or when I'm playing those games, I know that that needs work and in my mind I go, okay, correct, you're behind, you got to throw harder, you need more steps. I make those corrections right, bad route, bad angle, too low, too high, and so if I was a football player, I'd be working on that.
So you're thinking about it, yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
When I play, if I was to play road hockey, this is why road hockey, the ball hockey, lacrosse, it's all the same. Basketball, you if you're aware of your passing, right, because it's important. If you give a guy, we'll go basketball. I think a lot of people or soccer, whatever. If a guy's running and he has to stop or reach behind, like there's an area of your passing where it's like, okay, I need to be better, or that's good, but you have to recognize it first. So that to me, that's the thing. It's not a matter of necessarily that it's a skill. I think it's more of an awareness. So the skill piece though is how do you pass a puck? Like if you're winding up and dusting off and you're telegraphing and it's coming, the puck's behind your hips or behind your feet and you're passing where it can't be quick. Well, that's one skill piece that you can work on, snapping them off, like with your hands in front of you. after that, it's more of a mind process and seeing games evolve, right? So, like, are you smart enough as a player? Like, this is what I had when I was in midget, and I did it a couple times because I had a pretty quick winger in junior. Like, is it to my right winger? Does it always have to be a lateral pass or like on that angle, or is there another way I can get it to him? So I'm looking at his speed. I'm looking at the gaps on the D. Oh, maybe I could just throw it behind them, throw it at a dot, throw it off the end wall where he's going to be there and get it. So like sometimes you're passing, like that's the creativity of passing. So then the next piece is like looking at when you are passing, was it, like I said, in the football, like, do you have to stop? Do you have to stutter step? Well, in hockey, same thing. If you make a pass and you think you're setting someone up for a one-timer, let's say, and the pass is outside his body or in on the other side of his feet where he's got to fumble, it's like it's not a good pass. It's a pass. It's in the right, might have went to the right person, but is it a good pass where he can handle it and make something out of it? Is in the wheelhouse. And there's a big difference between someone putting the puck in the wheelhouse or putting it in an area where he has to bobble it and take a tenth of a second to get it off. So if you're playing with Alex Ovechkin, you know where he is. If you're the guy on the ice, like it was Backstrom or whoever it was, Carlson, if you're feeding him those passes and they're not in the wheelhouse, maybe it's not 700 goals now. Well, probably not. Right? So like,
is that what you break it down to, where it's like there just isn't a, from the player side and the coaching side, there just isn't an emphasis on that being important?
I don't want to blame coaches, because a lot of coaches, let's be honest,
but both.
Yeah. But I don't want. I'm just saying, I don't want to blame coaches because like if you haven't played, like if you don't have this mindset or like that not, I don't want to say perfectionist, but being aware of
how important it is,
how
as
important
a high-level
it is
player.
that pass is like 3 inches too far or too hard. You've passed it too hard. Like, you gotta have good passes, but it's not reasonable for this distance apart for me to rep a pass to you. It's like it's a little bit softer, don't you think?
Yes.
So you can. So it's that awareness. So if a coach hasn't played at a I don't even want to say a high level, but at a level where he needed to be aware of that stuff, how would he actually know? Because a lot of times you'll hear a coach say, "You got to get that shot off," and I'll look at that same play and I go, "He can't. It's not freaking possible. He needs three minutes to collect the puck and put it back where it should be." So like the teaching point on that is, if you can, great. But like, how many coaches really are aware of that? I don't know. Right. And as far as the players go, it's sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. Right. If you get a pass and it's not in your wheelhouse when you try to shoot, and you don't know the difference as a shooter, like maybe you don't know that was a bad pass or whatever. So it's like until you're really engaged in the small details of the game, then you'll never know. Right. So that's why I'm a big fan of playing other sports, to see angles, to see how plays develop, and watching video, like just seeing what makes someone excellent. Right. But it's no different. Like, I'll just change gears. It's no different than if you and I are going to go race for a puck, like right here, 10 feet away. Right. A lot of people wouldn't know, like, if you're faster than me, I don't have a chance. No, if I can just step in front of you, if I can just take one step in front of you, if I can cut your angle off, I slow you down, and it's like, it's a win. It's just being aware of all these situations. And I've said this a million times. I was in junior hockey, and I was my first year or whatever, I'd be like hunting down a puck. So it would go D to D. So I'd chase that D and he'd send it across. And it was like, after a while, I'm like, this isn't working, man. Like, why am I stupid? Why can't I'm not slow. I must be dumb, but it wasn't dumb. I was unaware of how to cut angles off. No one ever taught me. So sometimes someone opens up, they crack the door open this much, and that's all you need is a little bit of light to say, oh, now it's easier. So it's being aware. But if you're not aware, like if I just wanted to chase pucks all the time, then I would have chased pucks and probably got sent down to junior B or something. But you got to be self-aware. So that's the thing. And I think that's the, I know you got something to say, but I think that's the biggest thing that I see, not just from the development camp, but like in players in general, is that we spend so much time doing stick handling and the fancy stuff that, like, who's going to correct you? Like, right, if we do you 14 cone, whatever, under the stick, this, that, the other thing. Like, what's the mistake? Right? You're handling the puck too fast, too slow. Like, yeah, you could work on the leg movement, the head up stuff, but it's like, where's the game mistake that we can fix? Right? Like, there's no proven method of what that is excellent or that results into a goal. That's individual work. So that's the thing, is I think if people spent more time on little things like that. So like, as you asked that question, did you see it get worse to better? I said yes, because it was nonstop. That's not good enough. How am I supposed to shoot the puck? That puck was way too hard for him to handle. You're 6 feet away. That puck was way too soft. Like, it's on his back. Like, whatever. You're pointing it out all the time, and you're creating scenarios. End of story.